Our next guest up here will be Tony. Tony from Manic Meadery and Sis Brewing. How you doing, Tony?
Great. How are you, Nick?
Good. Tony, give us a little background about yourself and how you got to this point.
Oh, wow. You got an hour and a half?
We got 15 minutes?
All right. Well, I'm from Munster, well, technically from Hammond, Indiana. I grew up in Munster, lived in Griffith for a while, and then moved to Crown Point about 8 years ago. Prior to that, I was a starving musician for most of my life, and I played in a band called Groovatron, and we toured about 20 states for a solid dozen years and played over 1,000 shows, and that's how I met my wife, Vanessa. We've been married for 17 years. And she is definitely my better half. Also my best business partner when she allows me to be business partners with her. And
she tells you the truth, though.
Oh, she's
That's
the best.
what the best part is.
Absolutely.
It hurts, but it's good.
Yeah. And so when I had my first, we had our first kid who is now 16 at Crown Point High School, Cameron. He was a surprise to us. And I had to get real and get a job, so I worked in the entertainment production industry and did a lot of corporate events, large corporate clients, a lot of car companies, Volkswagen, Audi, Ford, pharmaceutical things. I went around and kind of worked in production settings similar to here, but mobile style, a lot of press events and corporate meetings. I did audio visual and then build scenery and whatnot. And when we moved to Crown Point, while I had all those jobs, I kind of do too many things at once is kind of my thing. Mm-hmm. And I always had a side business going on, so I've always been an entrepreneur since I was growing up. I got that from my grandma. She used to cruise all the garage sales and estate sales and auctions back in the 80s in Hammond, and she would load up her station wagon, and she called me her seeing-eyed kid because she was a little blind and driving around at the time. I used to have to tell her what color the stoplights were because she didn't know, and yeah. So that and her boyfriend at the time, Charlie, was kind of like my grandpa figure, and they used to drive me around and buying and selling stuff and putting it back in their garage and going on WJOB and the Bargain Finder, and before the internet and those days. So that was kind of the influence on that. And so I was buying and selling stuff my whole life. I had a lot of other side businesses, and I really wanted to get out of working for the man. So I was thinking moving into beautiful emerging Crown Point with mostly antique stores at the time on the square, turning into restaurants. I wanted to bring something to the town that perhaps didn't exist, and I realized I had a passion for home brewing, making beer, mead, wine, cider, just
out of your
about
bathtub?
anything. Yeah, well,
no?
Sometimes
Sink?
you might fill your bathtub with ice and put a couple of fermenters in there.
You know how many guys I had on that own these breweries? They really did start making beer in their bathtub.
Oh yeah, bathtub gin is a thing. But, yeah. I was always interested in fermentation. I don't know why. For some reason, since I was young, I thought owning a winery would just be so cool. Mm-hmm. And of course, around here, we can't really have a vineyard because we don't have the space or the area for the agriculture that would be involved to establish grapes. So I got into mead. I was making that at home, and I realized
that's why you got into the mead compared to going in just wine.
I think the mead was just what I got into at the time when I started the business, and I saw it as an emerging market. So just so everyone knows, mead is classified as wine, where the primary fermentable sugar involved, it has to be at least 51% honey. So whereas traditional wine, folks would consider grape wine, where you crush grapes or you get grape juice, you ferment it, and then you have wine. Cider is also a wine that's technically from apples usually. Perry is from pears. Mead is from honey, and then from there you can combine all other elements into it, including any sort of fruit, including grapes or apples, and then all kinds of other fruits, and then spices as well. So I started getting into that. I realized there was no wineries in Northwest Indiana.
I think there's only you and another guy that does meadery in Northwest Indiana.
At this point, technically we're the only licensed winery that I know of in Lake County. So that's pretty cool. And that's why I really did it. I thought it was a good opportunity. I thought there was a lot of breweries. I always kind of wanted to have a brewery too for some reason.
Well, you do, don't you?
And now I do, yeah. Yeah, so that came to fruition as well. But we started the business we got licensed in 2018, and the first couple of years were a whirlwind. We did very, very well. Our original location's in Crown Point on Summit Street.
Right. What's the hours
right next to Niemeyer's landscape. The hours there right now is Thursday through Sunday. Thursday is 4 to 9. Friday is 1 to 9. Saturday is 1 to 9, and Sunday is 1 to 6.
Okay.
And we have a great staff there. It's a really neat place. You walk in, it's very artsy. I took my stagecraft skills and designed it almost like a theater set in a way. We have a really beautiful epoxy floor and a lot of artwork up, and I faux finished a lot of the walls, and it's just a really fun, like calming, almost theater set type of setting. It's a very intellectual, conversational, friendly family place to be. We don't have a TV in the entire place, although you have very fast internet if you have to watch the game.
Right.
I just prefer you use your earbuds. And but no, it's that's probably the best part about that location. And so for the first 2 years, we did very well. Obviously, coming into COVID, and we managed to do really well through COVID, considering the circumstances. And that was a true blessing there. And we had a great staff. The community's been very supportive. We've done a lot of philanthropy through the business, and it's been a ride. So then 2 years ago
pivoted.
Yeah, 3 years ago we decided we need another location, and more staff and more equipment and all this other stuff. Mm-hmm. So we had an opportunity to purchase a previously existing brewery in Maryville, and that is on Utah Street. It's a industrial cul-de-sac off of 30, right between Big Lots and Stardust Bowl, and that was already a brewery, so we decided to move all the mead and wine production there.
Oh, so you don't even do it in the Crown Point?
Correct.
There.
We still have the tap room there, but it's just events, storage, and tap room. Yes, and then we make everything in the other location, which is 3 times the size of our first location, and we're starting to grow out of that in a lot of ways as well. That was the short-term plan for the winery while we built a new place, but that's been a little bit different with the climate of real estate lately. So we're just hanging on to what we have and making the most of it. But we have a new tap room there that's more focused around our brewery brand, which is Gnosis, and coming from the Greek word for knowledge.
Knowledge.
And it's been a great experience. I would say that we're definitely one of the most up-and-coming, well-awarded and recognized breweries in the state currently. We sell everything we make out of our door, but we do make kegs available to certain restaurants. We do a lot of stuff in the Valpo area and the Crown Point area, and a few other locations. Our products, both of our brands, Manic and Gnosis, are high-end products. So we're small batch. We pay our employees very well. We only use the best ingredients, and we just have the best team assembled that you could for everything down to ingredient sourcing, to marketing, to creating the product, to your taproom experience. So that's always been a passion of mine. I especially when you're essentially a legally licensed alcohol manufacturer.
I thought you were going to say alcoholic.
Yeah, well, yeah, you're making a product that is, it's an intoxicant. So I've always been obsessed with the culinary aspect of it, which ties right into your lust for food. And that's what attracted me to Mead originally, was all the ingredients you can use, and just the wonder of honey. Honey is an incredible thing. A lot of folks don't.
Where do you source your honey from?
We source our honey all over the world. Our primary base honey comes from Brazil and Mexico. That would be our orange blossom honey, and that's through.
So you have to be specific with the honey, because all honeys have different flavors.
Oh, it's incredible. We call it a monofloral honey, which is where the bees they gather their nectar from. Primarily, 90% plus one nectar source. So if you see generically at the store wildflower honey, that basically means whatever flowers were around the bees at the time. When you get into clover honey, which is also a common honey, which is, by the way, one of the most fantastic honeys when done right. If you get some Nebraska sweet yellow clover honey, it's one of the most divine things you've ever had. You get clover honey in the store, and it's packed honey. It's got sugar. Does not represent the same thing. It's completely different. But yeah, there's Metafoam honey out of Oregon. Tastes like marshmallows. Tupelo. If there's any Van Morrison fans in here, you have Tupelo honey is one of the most sought after honey. It's the Panhandle of Florida and southern Georgia. You know, these beekeepers put honey on barges and have to bring the bees out on the waterways and on the shorelines, for a month and a half a year and gather this nectar. You know, you have fireweed honey, which is from a plant that grows out of clear cutting and burning forests in the Pacific Northwest, and you have leatherwood honey from Europe. And
What do you like producing better? What's more satisfying, the beer or the mead?
I would definitely say the mead is a passion more than the beer for me at this point.
Wait, is it because there's an array of ingredients? I mean, fruits and things like that. You can kind of like concoct your own, like making a dish.
Yeah, it's a little more forgiving in the beginning stages because I'm very humbled by the beer making process at this point because I made plenty of beer for many years at my house. But when you become larger production and you bring it into a larger place, you realize it's a very hard job. And I do want to give a shout out to anyone in the industry that makes, winemakers and brewers who are in that industry. Most of them are overworked and underpaid, and you have to have a passion,
Mm-hmm.
I think that goes along with the restaurant industry as well. It's a very difficult business. Our brewer right now is making his third batch of the week, and he's going to get his 40 hours in by the end of his third day. And it's you're huffing 50-pound, bags of grain, and then you're graining that out and bringing it to the farmer who picks it up to feed his pigs and his cows, and you're a custodian.
Mm-hmm.
You're
There's a lot of cleaning up.
constantly.
A lot of cleanup.
Yeah,
I
they
go back
always-
in there. I got the high boots on, and they're just spraying everything down.
Yeah, the joke in the industry is you want to be a brewer, or you want to own a brewery, it's 80% cleaning and 20% paperwork.
Yeah, because if you don't clean, that fermented smell is.
Yeah.
So what drives you? What keeps you going? Because it is a hard business.
I think, I have a few partners who brought in for the brewery. It's been great working with them. They're all so talented in so many ways. So the tools we have with this partnership has been a lot of fun. It's not always easy to have 5 partners, but they're all very responsible, amazing people. And together, I think
5 partners and you?
for Gnosis. No, it's 5 total. Yeah.
So 6-pack.
Yeah, the
does it.
winery is me and my business partner Keith Cantwell, who are both in the brewery as well. Then we have Brandon Pope, Eric Verbeek, and Adam Young, who I brought into the brewery side. Mostly, I just wanted to. I like experiences in life, and if I really wanted to make money, I would probably find the door. Because it's not a very easy thing to, you're not going to get rich off of this, but it is a passion thing. So
we're down to a little bit last minute here. What are some of the special events that are coming up? I know you got something coming up here.
Well, this
soon.
Saturday on the 18th of May, we have Sugar Belt Mead Fest, and that's from 2 to 6 at Bulldog Park in Crown Point. And also my band is playing there, so I'll be on stage for 2.5 hours. It's the first show we played in 2 years, so that'd be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
We have 25 meaderies from around the country coming in from 15 different states. We'll have 4 food trucks, and it's a beautiful event. You can find information.
Again, where is it at?
That's at Bulldog Park in Crown
that's
Point.
okay.
Yeah,
That
it's a
sounds
beautiful
good.
event. It's supposed to be 80 degrees and sunny. So
Yeah, that's perfect. No rain. I'm
wear your
tired of the
tank
rain.
top. Yeah.
Well, Tony, I want to thank you for coming in and visiting with us and telling us a little bit about your operation. And that's Manic Meadery, and we also have Gnosis Brewing out of Maryville and Crown Point. Thank you, Tony, for visiting with us.
Hey, thank you, Nick. I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.